Hey, what's up, fellas, and welcome back to the fourth quarter comeback YouTube channel. And as you can see, we're not doing a Oilers franchise video today, but speaking of Oilers franchise, I want to thank you guys for all the views and some likes on those videos. I'm excited about it. I'm having a really good time with Oilers franchise, even though it's insanely hard, and this team is very much growing. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a really long series. So with that being said, I wanted to break up the content here on the channel. That way you guys weren't seeing nothing but Oilers franchise. And as you know, by the really cool thumbnail that I made, hopefully really cool, and the title of the video, we are going to do a 1-year season with the Washington Commanders. They happen to be my favorite team in the NFL. I've been a Commanders fan since 2 names ago, and since I was like 6 years old. So I'm debating on doing this. It was almost going to be my franchise for this season. It might still be at some point if the Oilers franchise goes well and I want to do something else afterwards. But I was debating on having them be my channel franchise this year. Still might be, but I wanted to do something cool where I only do 1 season with the Washington Commanders and see what we can do with Carson Wentz as our quarterback in only 1 season. So what I'm going to do here is we're not going to worry about the draft class or the opening day keys or any of this stuff. We're going to live simulate through the first couple weeks here, and then we'll go to mid-season and see where we're at. So in our opening game, we have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL this year. The NFC does. Actually, every team in the NFC East has one of the easiest schedules out of any team this year. So we open against the Jags. Next week is against the Lions. So in my opinion, should be 2 easy dubs here at the very beginning of the week. Let's see what happens. We actually won the first game of the year 38-35. Let's get into the box score for that game and we'll see how we actually did. Looking at the box score here, man, Carson Wentz had a day. 300 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions today, a long of 30, and he was sacked 1 time. Looking at the rushing, Antonio Gibson, man, 18 for 72 yards and a touchdown. J.D. McKissic got involved as well as Carson Wentz got involved. Looking at receiving, we had 3 passing touchdowns today. J.D. McKissic for 74 yards, 4 receptions. Logan Thomas got a touchdown. Curtis Samuel. The only people that didn't get involved were Dotson and McLaurin. I guess they had them covered up pretty well. Looking at defense, let's see how we did with tackles. We had 9 tackles today for Benjamin St. Juste, the cornerback. Looking at TFLs, we had a few. Jamin Davis had a TFL, Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne. We'll look at sacks. We had absolutely no. Well, we did have 1. Chase Young, the guy I said would be a monster, got a sack in this game. So going off to a good start here for Washington. Let's see how we did in the Detroit game. Let's chalk up another dub for the Commanders, man. We beat the Lions 24-21. It was a close game. Let's check out how we did in the game against the Lions. Carson Wentz didn't do as well as he did last week, but he did put up a touchdown and 253 yards. No interceptions today. He was sacked twice and had a long of 29. Rushing wise, Antonio Gibson had 95 yards and 2 touchdowns today. Let's go. J.D. McKissic ended up fumbling. Okay, that's not very characteristic of J.D. McKissic, but Antonio Gibson was 22 for 95, so we definitely we fell back on the run. We definitely fell back on the run there. I was searching for a word that I could not find. J.D. McKissic was 10 for 21. Carson Wentz actually ran a little bit too. Let's go over to receiving. Cam Sims, my boy, got involved. 4 receptions for 70 yards. Let's look at our touchdowns. We had one today for Jahan Dotson with 54 yards today. So if we look at the most yards for our receivers, it was Cam Sims, Jahan Dotson, Logan Thomas with 38 yards, Terry McLaurin with 31. So we got all the receivers basically involved today. We didn't give up a single sack, I do not believe. So let's look at sacks today. We had 2 sacks. Montez Sweat got a sack today, and so did Jonathan Allen. Looking at interceptions, we had one, Kendall Fuller. You must have heard what I said about the corners and free safeties. So looking at tackles for loss, we had a bunch. Montez Sweat had 2, Jonathan Allen had 1, and so did Chase Young. Looking at tackles altogether, our tackle leader was Bobby McCain, playing up for that contract. So let's see how we do against the Eagles in our first division game of the season. Look at that. We beat the Eagles 37-31. And look at that, man. Look at the standings from the NFC East. We are undefeated. We are the only undefeated team in the NFC East. We are 3-0 with the Cowboys at 1-2, the Giants at 1-2, and the Eagles at 0-3. One of those big O's was us. So looking at this game, we won 37-31, and we'll go into our schedule and look how we did in the Eagles game. Carson Wentz had a QBR of 88.2. He threw for 325 yards, 3 touchdowns, but he threw 2 picks. But his longest one of the day was 71. Huge. Must have been thrown to Terry McLaurin on that one, but he was sacked 1 time. Going into rushing, Antonio Gibson again had another good game, 89 yards and a touchdown. Another touchdown for J.D. McKissick. Carson Wentz running again, and Brian Robinson got into the game with 2 yards. But looking at receiving, we had 106 yards for Jahan Dotson. Let's go. And they only had 4 receptions, so that's crazy. Terry McLaurin had 96 yards. Curtis Samuel got involved. Logan Thomas got involved. John Bates got involved. Looking at the touchdowns, you had 2 for Jahan Dotson and 1 for Terry McLaurin. So, man, this receiving corps is balling out this year. We did not give up a sack. Yes, we did. Chase Verlier gave up a sack. Defensively, looking at the interceptions, we had 2. Cam Curl and Bobby McCain. These D-backs must have been hearing what I was saying. Looking at the sacks, we did have 1 today. Daron Payne. Looking at the TFLs, we had a few. David Mayo, who's not on the team, so I'm not going to count that one. Chase Young, Kendall Fuller, and Cam Curl. Looking at tackles, we had Javen Davis being our tackle leader today at 7. Cam Curl was 6. Kendall Fuller with 6, William Jackson with 6, and Ben St. Juste with 5. So we are undefeated right now. So we'll have to see how we play against the Cowboys. I kind of figured that would happen. We took our first L, but it was a close game, man. It was 38-27. So let's get into the schedule and see how we did in the game. Of course, we gave up more points than Dallas did, but you know, it was a close one. I'm not going to complain that we lost by 1 score. So if we're going into the player stats for Washington, yeah, Carson Wentz threw 2 picks, but he did throw for 3 touchdowns along with 25. So they were really stuffing the pass here. 327 yards. Looking at rushing, J.D. McKissick couldn't get going. I don't know what happened to Antonio Gibson. He's not hurt, so I don't know why he wasn't playing. But if we look at the touchdowns, nobody rushing had any touchdowns. We look at the passing touchdowns. We did have 3, so we'll have to go into the rushing yards again and look here. Not much to even tell you about in this game, so it was all passing. Logan Thomas had a touchdown and 100 yards. What a game for the converted quarterback. Jahan Dotson had another big game, 88 yards and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin had 86 yards and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel had 26 yards. So, again, we got McKissick and Bates involved. So, I'm liking that Carson is actually, you know, getting every receiver involved. Gave up a ton of sacks today. Sam Cosmi gave up 2. Chase Roullier gave up 1. Andrew Norwell gave up 1. Looking at the defense, can we redeem this loss? We had no interceptions today. We did have a sack. Montez Sweat gave us a sack today. TFLs, we had a few. Kendall Fuller, Chase Young, and James Smith-Williams, who I believe is not on the team. No, that is William Bradley King that's not on the team. So tackles altogether, our tackle leader was Jamin Davis with 13 solo tackles. Cole Holcomb there with 10 right behind him. Kendall Fuller with 7. Bobby McCain with 5. So, okay, so we're going to get into our first big sim of the season. We're going to sim to the mid-season mark and see where we're at. All right, so looking at the mid-season mark at week 8, we are currently second in the division at 3-4. So we took 3 more losses. We're going to have to look and see how those games went. We go over to our schedule. Can't even remember where the schedule is anymore. But we'll see how we did in these games here. Where I left off, we lost to the Cowboys. So we lost to the Titans 16-45. We lost to the Bears 15-31. And we lost to the Packers in a close game 22-24. Wow. Carson Wentz is not having a bad season with Washington. I think he should have a few more touchdowns, but I think he's on track to have very similar what he had with the Colts last year. He's got 1,826 yards for 146 completions for 238 attempts, 13 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Taylor Heineke actually got involved as well with 93 yards, 9 attempts for 9 completions for 12 attempts and 1 touchdown. Looking at rushing, Antonio Gibson has 420 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns on the year, 114 attempts. So we are pounding the rock a good bit. J.D. McKissick with 2 touchdowns on the year, 74 yards, 34 attempts. Carson Wentz having a good year so far on the ground, I believe. 22 attempts for 56 yards. So if we look at the receiving yards, we have 5 touchdowns. We'll do this by touchdowns. We have 5 touchdowns for Jahan Dotson, 3 touchdowns for Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdowns for Logan Thomas, 2 for Antonio Gibson, 1 for Curtis Samuel, and 1 for J.D. McKissick. If we look at yards, we got 430 yards for Terry McLaurin. Let's go. Halfway to that 1,000-yard season again. And Jahan Dotson, man, is right behind him with 427 yards. Logan Thomas with 362. Curtis Samuel with 285. Cam Sims getting involved, 131 yards. 108 for McKissick, 96 for Bates, 80 for Gibson. So I can't complain. We are really getting the ball out to our receivers. As far as defense goes, we'll look at our interception leader. Our interception leader on the year is actually a 3-way tie. Cam Curl, Kendall Fuller, and Bobby McCain, all with 2 interceptions. We'll look at the sack leader for the team so far, and that is Montez Sweat with 3 sacks. We got Chase Young with 1.5. That's not as much as I thought he would get. I thought he'd have way more than that. Jonathan Allen with 1, Deron Payne with 1.5 sack, with 4. My boy Fedarian Mathis getting into the game. Looking at TFLs, we had 11 for Chase Young. So he is definitely getting back in the backfield, but he just can't get those sack numbers up right now. We got Montez Sweat behind him with 7, Jonathan Allen, not Josh Allen. That's a different defensive player, and also a quarterback, with 6, Deron Payne with 4, Jamin Davis with 3. Let's look at tackles. If we look at tackles, 54 tackles, 44 solo tackles for Jamin Davis. Plays amazing in the sim. Look at this. Cole Holcomb with 49. So this is exactly what I thought it would be. Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis tearing it up as linebackers. I wish we had another third linebacker in there just to really help our linebacking core. But man, this is where the numbers are sitting right now. So screw it, we'll do it live. I was going to just sim to the end of the season, but I think it would be fun to do it live here. So we are going to see if we can beat the Colts, the Carson Wentz revenge game. Well, the second Carson Wentz revenge game. We won the first one, and we lost this one 28-3. We are moving down to third in the division at 3-5. Not looking very good right now, so let's see if we can beat the Vikings. That's rally. No, I don't want to send to the playoffs. No, we're not going to do that. Nope. Cancel. No. All right, so we did lose to the Vikings. Oh no, we won. 31-21. And look at this NFC East, man. Cowboys at 4-4, Giants at 4-5. Eagles at 2-6. So it looks like the Eagles are very much the worst team in our division this year. Well, as far as the sim goes. But we're 4-5, so it could be either us, the Giants of all teams, and the Cowboys to get that, division title. So let's see if we can beat the Eagles here in week 10. And we lost. We lost to the Eagles, which makes us 4-6. I don't know why that does that. Makes us 4-6, so we're right down there with the Eagles as bottom dwellers. The Cowboys at 4-5. The Giants winning the division at 5-4. Didn't think that would happen. So let's go and see if we can beat the Texans. I'm gonna say yes, we can. Hopefully we can. Can we beat the Texans? No, we lost to the Texans 23-17. What? Okay, we are 4-7, just barely ahead of the Eagles. The Cowboys are 5-5. The Giants are 6-4. The Giants are going on a little bit of a win streak here. Let's see if we can beat the Falcons. Come on. Let's beat the Falcons. Can we beat the Falcons? We do. We beat the Falcons 31-24. We are now 5-7 on the season. All right. We're starting to pull away from the Eagles. I think we got a shot at a wild card if we continue to win games. Can we beat the 7-4 Giants? Can we beat them? We beat them last year. Can we beat them this year? We won. We beat the Giants 24-21. We are 6-7. Man, look how tight this race is right now between us, the Giants, and the Cowboys. 7-5 for the Giants, 6-7 for us, and 5-7 for the Cowboys. We are going to skip the bye week. We're going to get into the next game against the Giants, and we are almost done with this season. Can we beat the Giants at home in week 15? Tell me we can. Yes, we can. We can do it. We won again, 22-21. We are now 7-7 and leading the division. Actually, we're tied with the Giants, but we may have another win that they don't have in division, putting us at first in the division at 7-7. But can we beat the San Francisco 49ers and Jimmy G, whether it's Jimmy G or Trey Lance, but can we beat the 49ers and go on to play the Browns? Can we do it? Week 16, we lost. We're now somehow third in the division. We lost 35-17. Let's see if we can beat the Browns in week 17. We also have an injury. That's not fun. So let's see if we can make the playoffs. We lost again. We're now 7-9. We cannot afford to lose this last game against the Cowboys. Can we do it? Can we make the playoffs? We actually beat the Cowboys 31-28. We did not make the playoffs, but we ended up with Carson Wentz with an 8-9 record. We can go into the stats and see how everybody played now, and maybe check some of those box scores and see how we did in some of these games. Looking at the season stats for Carson Wentz, a little bit worse than last year with the Colts, but he did throw 2 more touchdowns. So he threw for 400 4,224 yards, 359 completions for 564 attempts. We threw the ball a lot, man. 29 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, man. Taylor Heineke had 212 yards for 17 attempts. 25 attempts. They should have attempts first before completions, but 17 completions for 25 attempts. 2 touchdowns and an interception. So looking at rushing, man, Antonio Gibson had another 1,000-yard season, 286 attempts, 8 touchdowns. That's insanity, man. J.D. McKissick obviously didn't get involved much, 182 yards for 2 touchdowns. He did fumble once, but man, okay, I see you. Carson Wentz didn't scramble as much as I thought he would. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, 168 yards. Brian Robinson, man, that's pretty nice there. 30 for 83 yards and 4 touchdowns. And we're not going to talk about Alex Amon-Ra. Let's look at receiving yards. Jahan Dotson had 10 touchdowns on the season. Wow. 70 receptions for 997 yards. He almost was a 1,000-yard receiver in his first year with Washington. Terry McLaurin, 75 receptions for 914 yards and 5 touchdowns. Let's go. 907 yards for Curtis Samuel and 5 touchdowns. So we almost had 3,000-yard receivers. That's insanity. Carson Wentz was throwing that ball all over the field. 3 touchdowns for Logan Thomas, 849 yards. Antonio Gibson getting involved in the passing game. 4 receiving touchdowns, 278 yards. John Bates had a touchdown. Cam Sims had a touchdown. 2 touchdowns for everybody. J.D. McKissick had a touchdown. That's awesome. So at defense, our sack leader or interception leader on the year was Cam Curl. It was actually tied. Cam Curl and Kendall Fuller with 3 each. Then Bobby McCain. Then Jamin Davis, Cole Holcomb, William Jackson, and Khalil Cousin, who's not on the team. So we'll go to sacks, man. Let's look at the sacks here. 10.5 sacks for Montez Sweat. Let's go. What a year. Jonathan Allen, 4.5 sacks. Chase Young, 4 sacks. Deron Payne, 3. Jamin Davis, 1. And we're not going to get into these other guys, so let's look at the TFLs. Our TFL leader was Chase Young with 26. I almost said 206. Wow. 26 tackles for loss. Montez Sweat in behind him. And we look at tackles altogether. Our tackle leader was Jamin Davis with 129 tackles. So, man, let's go. Right behind him was Cole Holcomb at 995. So actually, let's look at kicking, and I want to see how Joey Sly ended up doing on the year. Joey Sly, field goals made 19, and field goals attempted was 23. So he was pretty close. I mean, that's field goal long was 57, and he had 82% field goal percentage. That's actually really nice. I know a lot of people don't look at kicker numbers, but man, okay, I see you. So I just went back and looked at the whole season for Carson Wentz, and this Falcons game happened to be his best game of the season, man. 355 yards was the most he could get. He had a few 300-yard games, but this was the one where he just balled, man. He only threw 2 touchdowns. The most he threw in a game was 4, but this was the only one I could see where he didn't throw any interceptions. So he had 355 yards and 2 touchdowns. Incredible game for him in this one. I mean, look at the passer rating of 112.1. Not bad. And he was sacked 4 times in this game. So, yeah, that's where we are, man. Carson Wentz, as far as Madden goes, got us to an 8-9 record. We did not make the playoffs, but we had a couple close to 1,000-yard receivers. We had another 1,000-yard rusher in this season, and man, look at the Cowboys only making it to 7-10. Realistically, I don't think they're going to win as many games as they did last year. It seems like the Cowboys always have a lot of injuries, and I think this year, man, they only got like 1 receiver to throw to and a rookie, and they already have some offensive line injuries, so who knows what's going to happen. The Eagles, everybody says, mostly that they're going to win the division. Everybody's sleeping on the Commanders, as per usual. The Giants, man, they had a crazy season, 9-8, but you see how close that was. This is one of the easiest yet hardest divisions to win, because all the teams are on the same level, meaning bad. But 9-8, not a terrible record, but it's a little bit above average. But man, we made it 8-9 on this season. I think Carson Wentz was like the 12th quarterback overall. But if you guys like this video, man, if you want to see me do it with another team, I would consider it. I'm thinking about making this a series where we just do like one season with the team, see how they do. I kind of really liked it, man. We ended up being a 82 overall team. I think we're an 80 overall to begin. So that's how we did, man. We made it to an 8-9 season in Madden's eyes. So where do you think your team is going to finish in the actual season? For me, I think Washington has potential to win 11 games. I don't think we're going to win 11 games. We'll be lucky to be 7-10 like the Cowboys. I'm always down on my team. I want them to do well, but it just feels like every time something good happens for Washington, something terrible happens the next week. So we'll see what happens, man. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more content here on the Fourth Quarter Comeback channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on. That way you get notified about all my videos, man. But I am done for today. I will see you in my next video. I'm going to roll up out of here. Later.